if we are not properly engaged.
Akello, we are told that teachers are trained to teach, not necessarily on a subject. That was one of the biggest arguments when they were posting these teachers. So when you say teachers who teach the same subject were posted to the same school, it sounds ridiculous, but what happens to the notion that teachers are actually trained to teach, not on the subject?
That one was a wrong assumption, because majority of the teachers who were posted to junior school were basically those who are trained to teach basically to subject areas. Like, for example, if you train from Kenyatta University, you have been trained in history and religion. You cannot be competent enough to hold a key area like English or mathematics. And therefore, you know, these are people who have taken 4 years in university. Some of them have also taken years doing just tea picking because there were no jobs. And then you have now brought them. In fact, they're supposed to even be retrained. But now you are telling them that they are going to teach like what the primary schools are trained to do.
Okay.
In our primary schools, all teachers are trained to teach all the learning areas which are in primary school.
Okay.
But in high school, you are trained to teach only 2 subjects.
So you're trained to teach the subjects.
Yes, but now to remove the misconception,
yes,
a curriculum is different from teaching a subject. Like, for example, no curriculum can be implemented just by teachers who have been trained to implement it. But teachers who are there can be transformed to implement a new curriculum through capacity building, so that they accept and they internalize the new concepts which are there. If there are new strategies which are supposed to be used for the delivery of the curriculum, then they will be competent enough to handle this.
Okay. The government has been telling Kenyans that they have employed the highest number of teachers since independence, more than 30,000. In fact, they are playing in the region of 50. Who are these teachers? Are these the intern teachers, or are these employed permanent and pensionable teachers?
No, I think that is also the area where we need to separate what politics can do and what is really on the ground. To be exact, when the government employed 31 teachers.
1,000
teachers. Basically 9,000 were on permanent and pensionable terms.
9,000 out of it, okay.
Yes, but 21 were intern teachers.
Okay.
Who were given a contract for one, non-renewable contract for 1 year. So that one is not an employment. They engaged these interns to be backup, also to learn on the job on what they are supposed to be done in school. So that one is the truth of the matter. So the employment of many teachers surely is a misinformation. It is an overstatement to say that 58,000 teachers were employed. In fact, only 18,000 teachers were employed over the period. The rest are interns. Out of the 58,000 teachers that we're talking about, only 18 are permanent and pensionable.
18,000. And that is what you would call employment.
Yeah, that one is not actually in employment. In fact, it is a bad labor practice to have professionals to go for internship for a whole year without confirming them as permanent and pensionable or on giving them a definite contract.
Okay.
That is, even in the private sector, it does not happen. You can only be there for 6 months and then you are given exit clause or you are engaged permanently.
Okay.
But what the government is doing is basically to solve a problem, which of course is good. But another thing is that the teachers who are engaged were also engaged on inferior terms than even other public servants.
I want to talk about the inferior terms.
Because they were given 20,000, while others are given 25,000.
Is it 20 or 17,000?
17,000.
Everyone who's speaking to me says 17,000.
You know what they get is what they call the net. But what they are given, which
as a gross
is 20,000,
okay,
which is also subject to taxation. So that is why they are saying they are getting 17,000.
17,000 1 year. Then you're told the other day, I think it's the deputy president who said that the intern teachers will be given priority come January 2024 during employment. That is not the contention is most of these teachers here are saying unless the terms are reviewed, they don't even want to be employed on permanent basis. That is one of the contentions. Secondly, how did unions such as yours let these teachers work for 1 year without terms changing? And now you have to renegotiate with the government on the basis of their employment, PNP or otherwise.
The field of work is very precarious currently because the government is well aware that there are so many jobless teachers outside there, and therefore they can easily misuse that circumstance to just do what they want. But we did not let go. The promise that the government gave us was that after 1 year serving as an intern, these intern teachers were going to be absorbed on permanent basis.
When was that promise recorded?
That promise is, you know, when political statements are made, you cannot, and it is made by somebody whom you don't think can change his mind, or then you cannot say that I must bring the clip.
You must document it.
Yeah, but
I mean, a contract should be written.
But given time, I will give you the papers which covered the stories,
okay,
and the minutes which we covered. In fact, on the issue of when we visited the president on 30th May, all unions visited the president, the unions which deal with matters teachers. We visited the president on 30th May. We had the longest time of engagement with the president on the issue of JSS teachers. He told us, let these people come, and these people will be absorbed by the economy after 1 year. That one is a gentleman agreement. You don't need to document it. But I am saying this with a lot of exactness that is what happened.
Okay.
So when they are now not engaged, it is not the union's failure, but we are looking at the critical component of a teacher in the life of education. That if teachers can be mishandled like this, and if education, which is so key to the economy, can be mishandled by not considering the human resource, which is the basic in this, then we don't know what we are looking for. Ken, let me tell you that with me, I learned in a class for 4 years, but not a classroom. Putting up classrooms is very secondary in learning. Very secondary. The person who must, the one component which must be there is the instructor. You can have many books supplied to schools and many laboratories. If you don't have the person who can interact, make these things to facilitate learning, then you are not getting it right. So that is where we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me take you back to these teachers. So after the 1 year lapses, what are you going to tell these teachers? What are you telling them? How are you pushing to ensure that they are employed on permanent?
You know, these teachers are Kenyans in the first instance, and we are also paying taxes which have really swollen. Then these taxes are supposed to engage the teachers. Take note that we want to be, one of the major objectives of the competency-based curriculum is to ensure that we are also in the league of those nations which have risen from the ashes to become tigers. It is based on looking at your own resource, but this resource must be nurtured. The failure to nurture them is compounded when you are dealing with demotivated teachers and you are dealing with casualization of teaching. You cannot engage teachers as casuals. This is not construction site. You are dealing with human beings who need to be formed accurately. And if they are not correctly formed, then you don't have a future.
Okay.
That future is really distorted.
Having said that, I am just concerned now about the quality of education that has been given or